Welcome friends to the discussion of today's UPSC paper of 2026 Prelims paper. So right now I am going to have a discussion on AMAC, that is Ancient Medieval Art and Culture and your Modern History. So basically history के point of view से हम आज का discussion start करेंगे. A paper was a bit tricky this year compared to the previous years. Lengthy भी था as we all know, right? In 2022, 23, 24 it was around 22 pages, but this year it was 26 pages. So yes, the paper was a bit lengthy. We all know that. So let us now start with the discussion. The first question here is talking about in the Pleistocene period, either the Yamuna once flowed into the Indus or the Satluj flowed into the Yamuna, and the major tributary of either had shifted from Ganga to Indus or vice versa. Which of the following are the basis of the above assertion? तो ये बार एक नया pattern, a new pattern has been seen in UPSC paper, right? कि they have given some statement and they have asked कि ऐसा this type of assertion is given where, right? Especially in your AMAC वाला paper में this have there has been 2 or 3 such questions. So this was a very vague question to interpret also and a very difficult question. So let us see the options. The Nadi Sukta of Rig Veda, right? Ki if this assertion has been seen in the Nadi Sukta of Rig Veda. First, let us see all the options, then we will have the discussion. The next statement is the exploration of Satluj and the Yamuna by Robert Bruce Foote, right? Robert Bruce Foote. And the third is the presence of the same species of dolphins in both Indus and the Ganga river system. So these 3 options has been given over here. In such questions, how you can interpret the question or how you can reach to answer. Like we have a format of attempting the question in 3 patterns, like confident, smart guess and the blind guess. I would keep such question in smart guess or blind guess one option because we can't be confident about such questions. So the Nadi Sukta of Rig Veda. It is very difficult to understand कि Nadi Sukta will tell about something like this and very precise of the Pleistocene period. Nadi Sukta can't be that precise, right, during that period. So we could eliminate this option. So A and C gets eliminated. Now we are left with 2 and 3, right? And recently there has been survey of dolphin and there has been seen that both the species had a same origin. Such type of theories or such type of study has been done. So this statement becomes quite possible. So answer here over is D. But such questions are very difficult in your examination point of view or in the examination center when you are attempting the paper. Such questions are very difficult. So you have to be careful of such questions. See, there were in total 21 questions from your AMAC and history. And out of that, around 14 or 15 odd questions were from your AMAC, that is Ancient Medieval and Art and Culture. So yes, a huge amount of questions are coming from AMAC this year, but more than 6 to 7 were very difficult. I would consider very factual and very difficult to attempt, right? And out of remaining 50%, we have to score the marks. So let us see the next question now. What does the second question here is about Buddhism, and it talks about what does the empty seat represent in the early Buddhist iconography. As we all know, before the split between Mahayana and Hinayana, in Hinayana system or early Buddhist period, Gautam Buddha in a person was not praised, but there was some iconography through which he was praised, like a horse, right? And then it was your empty seat. Then it was Bodhi tree, and chakra because of Dharma Chakra Parivartan. Yes. So answer here for the empty seat. So empty seat represented what? There could be a big confusion between the meditation of Buddha and Buddha's Mahavishnishrama, right? But this one, the B option here, is represented by the horse through which he left his worldly life towards the goal of attaining the salvation, right? So answer here is A, the meditation of Buddha. The answer here is A, the meditation of Buddha. Now let us see the next question. Which of the following pairs of ancient and modern names of rivers are correctly matched? This has been asked by UPSC earlier also many a times. So yeah, it is from PYQs. You can say this question is directly from the PYQs, and we have also covered in our test series, right? The first question here, so the first option, let's see the options: Vitasta, Askini, Parushini, and Yavyavati. There are 4 options over here. Vitasta is your Jhelam and Askini is your Chenam. This is a pure fact and you should be aware because PYQ se aaya hai directly. So you should be aware about such thing. So first and second gets eliminated. A option gets eliminated. Now we are left with 3 and 4. But Parushini is Ravi. Yes. So D option also gets eliminated. And Bias is, you search, it is Vipas, right? Vipas. So answer here is C, 3 only. Answer here is C, 3 only. Now let us see the next question. It is talking about the Amravati school or Amravati Stupa. Which among the following statement on the Amravati Stupa and its relief sculpture are correct? So first of all, we should be aware where is Amravati, right? You should be aware about this, ki where is Amravati, so that it becomes easier for you to understand. It is located in the lower Krishna Valley. Yes, this statement is absolutely correct because it is in the central part of India and it is in the lower valley of Krishna Valley. It is located in the lower Krishna Valley. In India, it is next only, very important terms. During our preparation also in Edukemy, we teach you that you have to be aware about these extreme terms like only, must. So here in India, it was next only to Sanchi Stupa in size. So is it true? No. When it was rebuilt, it was seen that Amravati Stupa is bigger than your Sanchi Stupa. So this statement is incorrect over here. So now we are left with 1 only and 1 and 3 only. The Amravati school of sculpture made a lasting impact on the later southern Indian sculptures and its products were carried to Sri Lanka and Southeast Asia. Even if you don't know this statement, but if you think logically, yes, it was in the central and the southern part of India, the Amravati school, yes, and it could have impacted the southern Indian sculpture too, and because of the trade and everything, it could have spread to Southeast Asia and Sri Lanka. So this statement is correct over here. Answer here is B, 1 and 3 only. Now let us see the next question. Again, this is a pure fact question. If you know, there is no logical way to answer such questions. So which of the pairs of the king and the dynasty in early historical Tamilakam are not correct? Very important. They are asking which are not correct. First is Sengutuvan. This is the most prominent king, most prominent Chera king. So the answer here is correct. It is Chera. He is also called as Red Chera. He also promoted the Patni cult, right? So he is quite famous for that. Then Nedu Genuine, that is Pandya. Yes, this statement is also correct over here. So first is correct. So this statement gets eliminated and C gets eliminated because we are asked not correct question. Left with 2 only and 3 only, and as we have seen, this is also a Pandyan king. And we are left with Udayan Jeral, and he is a Pandyan king again. He is a Pandyan king. So answer here is B, 2 only. Now let us see the next question. Nowadays of modern history regarding the formation of forward bloc by Subhash Chandra Bose. It is about forward bloc built by Subhash Chandra Bose. So what was the factors that contributed for the formation of forward bloc? Right. The first statement here is Bose failed to win the confidence of the Mahatma Gandhi. Yes, during the Tripuri session and other sessions, it was clear that there are some rifts between Subhash Chandra Bose, that is Netaji, and the Congress itself. Netaji also defeated the Gandhiji's candidate, that is Pathabhi Sitaramaya, in the elections. So yes, this statement is correct over here. Bose failed to win the confidence of Mahatma Gandhi. There was some rift between the ideologies of both the person. The Congress left was disunited and failed to support Bose. There were some leftists that were loyal to Bose, but they were even loyal to Mahatma Gandhi. So they didn't want Congress to fail again or get separated in 2 different ways. So yes, there was some left was disunited and failed to support Bose in such crucial matters. Right? So this statement is also correct over here. So 1 and 2 are correct. So now we are left with A and B options. Now let us see the other options too. the communists did not support Bose in his endeavors. Now this is an absolute statement or extreme statement that they didn't support him entirely. There is nothing like that. Yes. So this statement is incorrect over here. So the answer here becomes B, 1, 2 and 4. Let us see the last option also. The supporters of M.N. Roy and the socialist leaders like J. Prakash Narayan or J.P. Narayan preferred Congress unity to supporting Bose. Yes, they preferred to support Congress in long run. So yes, there were some differences and which led to the formation of forward bloc and ultimately led to the resignation given by ultimately Bose resigned Congress and created a forward bloc within the Congress. Very important. Now next question. Again modern history question. Consider the following statement regarding British policy in Awadh immediately after the annexation in 1856. Yes, in 1856 Awadh was annexed by the Britishers, right? So what was the changes they have brought? We are talking about that. The talukdars were dispossessed of their estates but allowed to retain their arms and forts. No, they were not given such rights also. They were dispossessed of their arms and forts and they were dispossessed of their estates. Around from 67% it was reduced to around 30%. The estate possession of the talukdars were reduced drastically. The summary revenue settlement was made in 1856 assuming that the talukdar were the outsiders. Yes, this is correct over here. The Britishers always believed in divide and rule. So they were trying to infuse hatred between each communities or each section of the society. So this was also done on that same pretext. The British believed in taking revenue directly from the peasants by removing the talukdars. Yes, this is also correct over here. So answer here is A, 2 and 3 only. So answer here is 2 and 3 only. Till now you can see the paper was a bit tricky. There were some pure facts over here or there was some logical understanding in modern history. Yes, you can eliminate few things and you can reach to the answer. So this was the paper in entirety. If you see the other topics also like environment, geography, yes, they were a bit tricky but they were doable. We'll see in the forward sessions also when sir will take the other subjects, different faculties will take the other subjects. We'll see how logically you could have attempted those questions. Now let us see the next question. Question number 8. Consider the following assertion. The genesis of political alliances based on community lay in the very nature of the Montagu-Chelmsford's reforms of 1919. So, which of the following statements support or supports the above assertion? We have to look into this. The reforms retained and extended the principle of separate electorates. Yes, the genesis of Montagu-Chelmsford reforms also, the reforms which were given by Morley Minto, in which separate electorates were introduced, that were extended again in your Montagu-Chelmsford. Then separate electorates were supposed to counter Indian nationalism which was growing stronger. Yes, again the divide and rule policy of Britishers comes into the act. They wanted to create a class difference between the people, subside or subdue the Indian nationalism which was rising post Swadeshi movement and Gandhian phase. Swadeshi movement and during the Gandhian phase, the unity that was increasing, that was need to be shattered by the Britishers. So they used this policy. And the deprived classes rallied around the favors inherent in the separate electorates. Yeah, this statement is also true. Deprived classes were provided separate electorates and they rallied behind it. Yes, give us also the right or separate electorates so that we can represent ourselves better in the society. So answer here is D, 1, 2 and 3. Now question number 9 and question number 10. They are straightforward, either you know or you don't know, because it is very tricky and very factual. And in such questions, if I were in your place, as an aspirant I am talking about, if I were in your place, I would have never attempted such questions. Because it was either, it is a pure fact. If you know it, you know, otherwise you don't know. There could be some logical thinking in this one, but in this question, 9th question, there is no such logical guessing. Pandit Mallikarjun Mansur, the famous classical singer from Karnataka, represented the Jaipur Atroli Gharana. This is the pure factual based question and the pure factual based answer. This is the answer itself. Now the 10th question. In which In which among the following texts does the term Kshetrapatni, mistress of the field, originate? Now let us see how we could have reached to the answer, or at least we could have tried to smart guess such question, right? So first I would see the two options. They are talking about two Vedas, Atharva Ved and Rig Ved. We all know Rig Ved have hymns. Then we have Samved, Yajurved. Yajurved is all about yajnas. Samved is about music. And Atharva is all about magic. Right? As we all know, as we have remembered in our basic study. Now, Kshetrapatni, that is mistress of field. It is something about, right, a demigod kind of thing which protects the field or something like that. And we have seen to pray someone like that, we need a lot of magical chants or something like that, magic wala thing. So I would have guessed in such question Atharva Ved, and answer here is Atharva Ved. I know it sounds vague or whatever, but this is how you are supposed to attempt such question if you have no other source or no other logical explanation to attempt it. So this could be one of the way to attempt such question. Now let us see the next question, 11th question. Which one of the following Carnatic music ragas is similar to Raga Bilawal in Hindustani music? Pure fact-based question again, and answer here is Dhira Shankara Bharanam. Right? It is a very factual question. Either you know, you don't know, you don't know. Now this question, the next question. Let us see the 12th question. Artificially fixed rupee sterling exchange rate prescribed by the Hilton-Young Commission in 1926 was adopted by the British government for which one of the following reasons? In such question, you could have understood the economy of India during that period, right? You could have linked your economical concept during the 1930s or 1920s period of India, aiding the flow of remittances from India and maintaining India's credit worthiness. Providing support to Indian importers. No, they could never do that. So this statement becomes incorrect over here. Encouraging export of cotton produce from India. Yes, they wanted to do such thing, but the Hilton Commission didn't wanted this. And next is preventing depreciation of rupee in terms of gold. No, it was rupee sterling and not rupee gold. Okay, so this statement is also incorrect over here. So logically, answer remains A over here. Aiding the flow of remittances from India and maintaining India's credit worthiness. This was the whole purpose of Hilton-Young Commission. Now, the 13th question is quite unique for this year in your AMAC portion. They have given two statements over here. They have provided two statements over here, and they have asked that these two statements have been associated with which of the following, and they have given two options, and then they have asked which two options are correct. So first, let us read about the question. Pali text contains the first definite references to the coins. Example, Kahapana, Nikka, Kamsa. They have given different names of the coins. Right? Then next is the literary evidence from Pali text is corroborated by the archaeological evidence of punch marked coins from many sites, most of them made of silver. Now, if we see the development of the coins or development of currency, it happens in a civilized society in a cyclical manner, or when there is an evolution of a civilization. Initially, there would be a barter system, right? Then there would be some mode of exchange. Then come your currency, right? And this shows the development of the society or the evolution of the society. Now let us see the above statement have been associated with which of the following? Emergence of urban life. Yes, urban life is itself a development in the form of development of civilization, right? If there is a development of society, right, in trade perspective or any other perspective, so there is a emergence of urban life and transition to money economy. Yes, from barter economy to money economy. So both the statement 1 and 2 are correct over here. Now again a interesting question from your architecture point of view. There have been a very interesting question earlier also from your architecture. Earlier they used to directly ask Dravida architecture, Vesara architecture, by which king it has been constructed or something like that. But here they have asked which of the following temples have a Nagara style Shikhara. Very important. They have asked specifically for Shikhara and not the entire structure is Nagara style. So in some of the Vesara architecture too, we have Shikaras which are belonging to Nagara style in Vesara, because Vesara is nothing but mixture of your Nagara and your Dravida style. So first, how we could have eliminated few options, or most of you have done in your examination. First, you must have seen the places where they belong. So Deogarh, as we all know, is in UP. So yes, they must have Nagara architecture. So you would be thinking, yes, this statement is correct over here. So you will eliminate 1 and 2, right? And you would be left with 3 options over here. Kia, Deogarh. Then you will see other options. Then it is your Badami, Aihole and Patadakal. The Virupaksha temple of Patadakal, we all know, is purely Dravida style or Vesara style. So this statement is incorrect over here. 3 and 4 gets eliminated. Now you are left with 2 options. But interesting fact is here, even though it is Aihole, but yeah, is a Chalukyan style architecture, that is Vesara style, but it has a prominent Nagara style Shikhara over here. So answer here is B, 2 and 3. Answer here is B, 2 and 3. UPSC has played a neat trick over here of asking about Nagara Shikhara and not just Nagara style. Now let us see question number 15. It is regarding your Jainism. 15th question is regarding your Jainism. Among the 4 main forms of existence of life recognized in Jainism, which one of the following is not included? So Jainism has 4 forms of existence of life. So that is Devas or God, human, that is Manushya, Tiryanch, that is plants and animals. Yes, these 4 are included in that. So Yaksha, that is demigods, is not part of your existence of life in your Jainism. Answer here is B, Yaksha, that is demigods. They are not included in the existence of life form recognized by the Jainism. Now question number 16. They are asking about Halilasya. It is a painting in the Bagh caves that is found in your Madhya Pradesh. It is Gupta era, if I am not wrong, it is in the Gupta era time, this Bagh cave paintings, and in that they have precisely asked about Halilasya. Now Gupta period, as we all know, somewhat it was revival of Hinduism post, and mostly it was Hinduistic architecture or the paintings and culture. So Buddhism is a Buddhist Buddha in a meditative pose. This statement becomes a bit irrelevant for during that phase, as Bagh caves are not related to those. The depiction of Shiva and Parvati in Kailasa, Samudra Manthan, that is churning of the ocean, and the joyous folk dance. Now, in such question, how we are supposed to attempt? Highly, let's say, try to break this term. It would become Halisa, Halisa and Lasya. And Lasya, if you have read your notes, basic notes also, it means, Lasya means dance or dance form. So there is only one option which is talking about dance over here, and that is joyous folk dance. And yes, Halisa Lasya is nothing but your folk dance. So answer here is A. Answer here is A. Consider the following statements related to the use of place value system in India. The earliest epigraphic use of the place value system in India is found in Mankani plates from Gujarat. Yes, this statement is correct over here. In the 9th century, place values become general inscription all over India. Yes, here all. It is an extreme term, but this is correct over here. It was started in using the entire subcontinent and even in the Southeast Asia. The place values have been found in Sanskrit inscription in Southeast Asia as early as 7th century. Yes, this statement is also correct over here. Answer here is D. 1, 2 and 3. All three statements are correct over here. Now next question is regarding your Harappan towns, and again an interesting question with that assertion pattern which I was talking about earlier. So consider the following statement about the archaeological finding in the Harappan towns. There is a wide occurrence of spindle holes in the houses but absence of the spinning wheel. Weights and measurement scales complete with the graduation have been discovered. There are houses built in large part with baked bricks around relatively spacious courtyards with their own wells, bathing platforms and large rooms. Which of the following inferences can be drawn from the above statement? Statement 1 suggests that spinning was a laborious activity done at home. Yes, there are wide occurrence of spindle holes in the houses. We are finding this in the houses. So yes, they are doing this laborious task in the house itself. So this statement becomes correct over here. Statement 2 suggests that the extent of scientific knowledge that the Harappan possessed. Yes, when we are talking about weights and measurements, that is a scientific knowledge that they possessed about the weights and everything. So yes, that statement is also correct over here. Now the third statement. The statement 3 suggests emergence of common property system. Now if anyone is having their own wells, own bathing platforms and large rooms, then how it can be a common property system? It cannot be a common. It is rather a private property system. It is a private property system. And as we have seen in the history of Harappan civilization, they had a common structure for the bricks. Size of the bricks were unique, but not unique, rather common. But they had their own houses, wells and everything. So yes, it was a private property system over there. So this statements become incorrect over here. Third statement gets eliminated and we reach to answer as A, 1 and 2 only. So answer here is A, 1 and 2 only. 19th question, it is from your modern India. So yeah, UPSC has also created paper that in a sequence you don't get a AMAC questions or modern history. They have created this mixed balance between the questions. There are some AMAC questions and out of nowhere you get a modern history question. Then again you shift to your other type of questions. Like again after modern history you will see Rigvedic period. So again an ancient India question. Which one of the following statements about Ekka movement and Bardoli Satyagraha is correct? So they have asked regarding two movements, that is Ekka and Bardoli Satyagraha. The Ekka movement throughout supported and organized by the Congress, while Bardoli Satyagraha was initially independent of the Congress influence and was only in the last stage supported by the Congress. See, there are some extreme terms in such options. Throughout supported and organized by the Congress. No, Ekka movement was a local movement comparatively. So yes, there would be some initiation by the local itself. After that, Congress or any other political party gets entered. It was seen throughout the history, such thing has happened continuously. So this statement becomes wrong over here. The Ekka movement provided leadership by the talukdars of the Awadh, whereas Bardoli Satyagraha was a movement of the landless laborers. If we remember, Ekka movement was against the talukdar. It was against the talukdar, and then never their leadership could be acquired by the talukdar. And whereas on Bardoli Satyagraha, it was by the landlords and not the landless labor. It was done by the landlords because taxes have been increased in Bardoli, and there was the prominent role of our Iron Man, that is Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, and he got the title of Sardar also during this Bardoli Satyagraha. So this statement also becomes incorrect over here. Now let us see the D option first. The Ekka movement was located in Varanasi and Mirzapur districts of present day UP, while Bardoli Satyagraha took place in Saurashtra. No, it was not in Saurashtra. It is, this Bardoli lies near Surat. Right. So this statement is also incorrect over here. So answer here is C. Bardoli Satyagraha was campaign against enhancement of the land revenue, while Ekka movement was a protest against excessive extraction of the rents. Yes, this statement is correct over here. Now let us see the next question. regarding Rig Vedic period. Irrigation from the wells allowed agriculture to expand away from floodplains and strips of river margins into the present day Punjab and Haryana plains, having underground water levels reasonably close to the surface. Drought animal power was employed to draw the water out of the wells. Drought animals like bulls, donkeys, they were used. Which of the following information supports the above statement? There is evidence in Rig Veda of the use of Ashma Chakra, that is stone pulley, and Ahava, that is strapped wooden pails to draw up water. It becomes logically correct. Yes, there could be a reference to such chakras. Chakra itself means something round, that is spinning. So yes, water could be used as a stone pulley wheel. So this statement is correct over here. Mention has been made in Rig Veda of the use of implements like parashu, kulisha axe and datra, that is sickle. Now these are used in your farming. These are used in your farming tools. These are your farming tools. And we are talking about here, we are talking about the irrigation practices. Irrigation, that is water, we have to remove water. So we can't use this agricultural tools to remove water. So this statement becomes incorrect over here. There is history of use of ox even before Rig Veda for ploughing the land and pulling the carts. Yes, this statement is correct over here. Answer here is C, 1 and 3 only. Answer here is C, 1 and 3 only. That wraps up your history portion. There is another history question ahead, but that is in context of some other topic also. So we are co-reading that in other topics also. So we are done with our history portion. Now next faculty will be talking about other topics. Till then,